Guys, it's official. We're here. I've been trying to figure out all the things and what to say and how I want to map these things out, but we are just going to give it a go. I feel like there's been so many emotions. So first I would like to say, if you don't already know, my name is Sherina. I am the owner and the girl behind the camera of Sherina The Storyteller. Originally, when I created my business, I had a completely different name. My name was just Sherina Lachey. Have gone on over the past few years. I have been given this new name. It is called Sherina The Storyteller. It was, if I'm being completely honest and transparent, it was a name that was given to me in a dream. And it was shown to me along the way of how I need to not only build my business, but the people that I was going to meet along the way, going to tell their stories. I am originally from Alaska, born and raised, and I feel like the number one thing that people always say when they find out that I'm from Alaska, especially me living in Texas, they're like, wow, Black people live in Alaska? And I always be like, absolutely. For me personally, all the men in my family were in the military, from my grandfather to my father, even to my stepfather. They all were in the military and they retired or got out of the military. Such a better place to build a family and a foundation than to go move somewhere else. And so that's how your girl got here. It took me a long time to realize how much I do that might be Alaskan, if that makes sense. You guys, I'll tell you this random story and I'm gonna keep on going. When I first moved here to Dallas, I moved here in the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And I remember my dumb self literally went to the store and asked if they had reindeer sausage. When I tell you, the lady looked at me like I was absolutely insane, that I want a reindeer sausage, let alone to understand it. And I said, oh, that is not normal in the rest of the world. That's just what we do, is eat reindeer sausage. And it's hands down the best breakfast sausage that you'll ever have in your life. Thank me in advance if you ever go there. I say all that to say, I am from Alaska, and I feel like as I meet people, it's such a unique thing to them, but it's not unique to me at all. But without my time being born and raised in Alaska and within my career, I worked in the airline industry. I worked in the airline industry a little over a decade. And throughout the time, I have been to so many different places within Alaska, but even more, I have met so many different type of people, to say the least, if I'm being completely honest. And I have always wanted to, and I've been going on this journey of meeting and understanding people, even more understanding and seeing people the way that God sees them. And recently God has been telling me, he's like, Sherina, this is your ministry. Sherina the Storyteller is not just a business, although it will make money and things like that from it. It is a ministry to meet and share people and tell people a story that that I have connected you with. Even more, to tell their story in two perspectives, in maybe even a few more now that I say it. One is about telling their story in the way that they have experienced God, and the way they've just experienced life in their story. And even more, just for myself, if I'm being completely honest, I love getting to know people. I love getting to know the depths of who they are. And I feel like a lot of people just see people and hear what they're saying, or it kind of goes in and one ear and out the other. But if you really take the time to put yourself to the side and understand who they are, why they move the way that they do, I think it allows you to just understand people. And even more, it allows you to be softer and look at people differently throughout mankind. And that's what I've learned within myself. One time I was given a vision, and in the vision, God showed me in my apartment building. He said, Sherina, you have the key to be able to have access to every single room, every single apartment, meaning people. He said, but you have to realize when you go in those rooms that people are not there to understand you in the same way that you understand them. So, and I learned to never take offense, because what I'm here to do and how I talk to people and how I meet them is just part of the grace and part of the gifting and part of the calling that God has on my life. It has been a gift to be able to understand and to be able to meet people, and meet people where they're at, and to see where they're going. And I feel like a lot of times we meet people and it's like, oh, the potential. No, it's not just the potential. I'm really seeing people for where they are genuinely about to go. I believe that us telling the stories and telling our truths heals people. I believe that there's so many different things that are out here on social media. And I used to have this lady when I worked for the airline industry at the ticket counter. She used to always tell me, Sherina, garbage in and garbage out, and make sure that you always protect your ear and your eye gates all the time. And so with that, I'm wanting to change what's out here on social media. I can say that I've contributed to a lot of things of what's still going on in social media, the simple fact of me just watching it. But there is a true, from the bottom of my heart, it feels like there's a pull and a calling, especially the past few days, especially this last 24 hours, is to truly walk into my calling. And what that is traveling, meeting different people and telling their story and creating a public platform for people to share it, and to also be a safe space for people who have never had safe spaces before. I remember when I was a lot younger, and I say maybe about 10 or 15 years ago, I was going through so many different things. And I think it's like natural part of life, but I've also was going through supernatural things that was just out of this world. And I used to watch different sermons and different stories and different testimonies of people, and that's how I was able to get through some of the hardest times of my whole entire life. Even more, I was able to see myself in those people, knowing that I can make it through, and one day that I might be in those places. And now I am. One of the other big reasons why I want to tell stories and do this in a specific way is that for me, being a small town black girl from Alaska, if I'm being honest, I didn't have all the big churches. I didn't have all these big things, and seeing these people was the only way for me to sing was on social media and like on TV and stuff like that. And so I always wanted to be in a place that I could create those platforms for people that are in smaller places or just not might have the resources to get to people, that they can still not only have their story heard, but to hear other people's stories to help them keep going the same way that I wish somebody did for me, and who did for me at the same time, if that makes sense. I am going to be, for the next few episodes, for sure, well, let me start back. For this first episode, and maybe for the second one, I'm going to talk about myself and my own personal story. And the other ones, I am going to start introducing you to the different people that I have met along the way. I have met different people as me starting my business and trying to grow and figure things out here locally in Dallas. I've met a lot of beautiful and amazing people. And as I've met them, God has always whispered in my ear, like, hey, you need to tell their stories. So we're putting those things together. And then also, I want to say this. I am a storyteller through and through. I've always loved the art of interviewing. I love the art of speaking to people. I love the art of documentaries, like wholeheartedly. And my goal is to build up to that, to tell those type of stories. Even more, I want to create certain spaces for people that we can just all come together in one space and all be mic'd up and have conversations about the different things that have happened in our lives. I will say, if I'm being honest, this is probably one of the scariest things that I have ever done. I have done a few little mini docs, and this one is, or this, how do I say this? This journey that I am going to go on is going to be completely different. It's never been like anything that I've ever done before, but I am stepping out on faith, and I'm believing on God for what God has called me to be and to do.